Hello, my friends, and welcome to the forest. It's good to see you. It's one of those long, cold nights. It's one of those fairly cold days. And this brings to mind the question I had with several acquaintances about my talk on Christmas. If Christmas did not originate primarily as a mass for Christ to celebrate his birth, then why did our grandparents, great grandparents on back celebrate that season? And really, if you want to look at the origins of why Christmas was so important, and it goes back to Yule, and Yule goes back to who knows what. If you want to look at the importance of that, you have to remember what our ancestors dealt with, being primarily a farming people, what the winter would bring. You're very busy when you have a farm in the spring, in the summer, in the fall. But when winter comes, you can take a rest from the outdoor activities, some of them, and you move indoors. It's it's a quieter time. It's not as busy. And for our ancestors, travel was not as possible with snow blocking the road and creating difficulty. In fact, a lot of danger can come with travel. So you want to get that done at the beginning of the season. Now in fall, you spend a lot of time bringing in the fruits of the summer. You canned, you prepped for the winter. You did all of those things to preserve the food that you had. You took stock of what you had. You took stock of your firewood. You wanted to see what would get you through the winter. Now, the Yule celebration, the Christmas, that winter time, that solstice celebration, was strongest in areas that had the real cold winters. The winters where you couldn't just go out and pick fruit, where the game was scarce, where you had to prep for it if you wanted to get through it. And within your community, there would be some who would have good years and some who would have bad years. If you wanted to keep your community members working together so that you didn't have the people who had bad years breaking into the homes of the people who had good years in order to steal enough food to keep alive, then you would have something like a solstice celebration where the people who had a lot, more than they needed, so much that it would rot before they finished it, you wanted those people to be gifting to the people who had bad years, who were down on their luck that particular year. And that's where we get the custom of feasting, of getting together with our friends and our neighbors and our family and sharing out what we had so the people who are less fortunate can make it through the winter months. Again, that's why you had a very strong celebration of this type in areas where the winters are harsh, where it wasn't temperate all year. So this brings us back to the celebration that we have now. It's primarily its origin is to help others who may not make it through the cold seasons. And while it's nice to celebrate it in temperate climates, it doesn't have the same urgency. It's important in hard times to pull together. We may forget now how important our diversity of population was back when things weren't as readily available, when travel wasn't as easy, when technology didn't bridge the gap the way it does now. That family of smiths who took care of all of our metallurgy, our metalworking, if something happened to them, we may not be able to get shoes for our horses. If the woman or the man who taught our children, if they came down sick because they didn't have enough to eat or they didn't have enough firewood to stay warm, then we would have issues with educating our children and having them learn what they needed to become productive adults. If something happened to the people who, handled the livestock and knew what to do if one of our horses or our sheep got sick and didn't survive the winter, we would have problems in the spring when it came to dealing with our livestock and what to do if we had problems. See, we all have important things to give each other. We all have important things to offer our community. So we want to take care of our community members. Even if we don't love them, we still want to take care of them because every one of us has something important to offer. And if it seems like we don't, it's just a matter of looking a little deeper to see who we really are, what we really care about, because that will tell you exactly what we can offer to others. So this season, the winter season, it's about turning within. Before you do that, at the beginning of the season, at the solstice, it's about turning without, to the outside, to see who needs our help and what we can do. And that is truly the reason for the season. Until next time, thank you for joining me, and you stay warm.